Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back. This is the organ room from the other side. I thought I'd show you what's going on from the other side for a change. If you've been joining us recently for our live streams that we have every Friday evening, that's at 2200 hours, that's 10 p.m. normal Central European time, which I think at the moment is 2100 hours or 9 p.m. UTC. Then you are more than welcome to come and join us for our live streams every Friday evening. And it's good fun, it really is good fun. I put myself on the spot, I play things by sight or at sight. I try to play things I've been playing for many years. I make things up and I answer people's requests. I also take requests, so if you have requests for any of these videos, then please let me know. Not necessarily in the comments to this video, but if you look on the channel, you will find a link to the live stream every week. And you can add some comments for me there if you have certain requests that you'd like me to play. That's the idea anyway. So today's going to be a chatty video, and I'm actually going to I'm just going to chat, and I wanted to show you, well, like I said, I wanted to show you the room from the other side. So normally in live streams or in other videos, the camera is here. The camera is here. Sorry, I've got my monitor here. Thanks. The camera is here. And I'm looking in this direction towards the window, which is right behind the camera at the moment. And I thought, just for a change, it might be a nice idea to change things around. So the camera on the other side, so you can see what's going on now. In the background, you can see another room. And that is, on Friday evenings, that's our control room. My wife, Vanessa, sits there and controls the live stream from there. Now, normally we have 4 different camera views that we then stream. And we've got this camera, which is the one normally there. We have my mobile phone, which sits behind me and sort of takes the organ from this angle here. I've got my GoPro, which I usually have on the music desk of the organ itself, looking down at my hands. I'm still not 100% happy with that view at the moment. And then we have the screen of the Hauptwerk software. Can't say that. The screen of the Hauptwerk software as an additional input into our streaming system. Now, a lot of people have been asking, how are we doing this? Are we using OBS or Ecamm or one of those things? Neither. We're using a hardware streaming system. And a couple of months ago, when I say I splashed out, my leasing company helped me splash out on one of Blackmagic's ATEM Mini switchers. And we went for the ATEM Mini Pro, which, thanks to its Ethernet connection, gives you a direct connection to the interweb, which means you can then stream straight from the device to YouTube. So there's no computer involved in the process of streaming itself. The computer is then used. Vanessa sits there with my laptop and she can switch between the camera views. She can keep an eye on the chat. She can answer people's chats and so on and so on. And she can make sure, she can monitor that everything's working. But the beauty of that is it frees up my main PC for Hauptwerk only. So that's rather good. Now, don't forget, I'm running Hauptwerk from my aged, it is aged in these days and age, it's a 4-year-old iMac. So in these days and ages, a 4-year-old PC is, of course, ancient. It's a piece of history. And this 4-year-old device is absolutely perfect for what I need it to do for Hauptwerk. It's been upgraded to 64 gigs of RAM. I can't actually tell you what... Actually, I can, can't I? I can press this and it will tell me. This is the 2017 model iMac, blah, blah, blah. It's got a 3.8 gigahertz quad-core Intel Core i5 processor, which of course sounds very antiquated in this day and age, but works absolutely perfectly. I very rarely, if ever, have any problems running any Hauptwerk organ on this system. Like I say, I upgraded the RAM to 64 gigs and that helped the situation quite seriously. That's the maximum RAM that this old machine can take, by the way. If it could have taken 128, that would have made life even better, because then I could have installed all organs at full quality with all channels. But sadly, that's not the case. I have to leave the occasional channel out to cope with the 64 restriction that I have there. But it works and it does the job and it's absolutely perfect. Isn't that wonderful? Now, people then ask me, of course, well, if you're doing all this, you've got 4 different cameras, what's the main camera you're using? Well, the main camera we are using is an old digital SLR that I had lying around. I kind of forgot about. And it turns out that its HDMI out can be used as a video source. Ta-da! So this thing, I just connect an AC adapter to it. It's an old Canon camera. It's got a Canon zoom lens, EFS, 17 to 85 millimeter. This is it at its 17 millimeter setting. This is a chat video today. Yes, a lot of people have been asking about, you know, my live streams and what's going on at the moment. So this is a chitty-chatty video. I will be sitting at the organ, but I won't be playing the organ. And if you're not interested, then go and click on one of my other musical videos, for example, this one. Anyway, yes, so this old Canon thing with its old Canon lens, it works perfectly. And because it's HDMI connection to this ATEM mini switcher thing, it just works. It just works. So all you do is you sort of, it technically has autofocus, but it doesn't have auto follow focus. It's only autofocus if you're taking pictures with it. That's how old it is. But it works. So you set up the focus, and I hope I'm in focus at the moment. Yes, I've set up the aperture in such a way that it should be catching most of the room and not too much of the background. Now, some people who are very clever will have noticed in the background there is what appears to be an open drawer. Well, yes, that is my drawer of goodies. A lot of people have sort of said, where do you keep all your equipment? Now, over there's an old television there, which we don't use. We don't watch television in this household. My wife and I, we have a television set, but we don't watch TV. This is up in the music room. It's not connected. It's not even connected to the mains. It's just there. And I dare say I could use that as a monitor system for the live stream things, but it's so, again, so old, it doesn't make any difference, and the quality is pretty grim, actually. But apart from this cable you can see on the floor here, I tried to keep all the cables at a minimum. Try and keep everything nice and tidy. Now, I have a light in the background, a studio light, sort of an LED panel thing in the background. I actually have two of those, but I only have one at the moment. On Friday nights, I of course use two. And sorry, back to that drawer. That's where I keep all my cables and where I currently keep music books. For example, Bach and so on. So a lot of people are quite interested in finding out about this. Now, the room itself, I don't know if you can see this in the back. Can I get my hand to do this? Yes, there. That, whoops, that, oh, this is weird. That, can I do it? Yes. That is the roof line of this room. You have to think everything backwards. That's the roof line of this room. We're upstairs in the house, and there are only two rooms upstairs. There's that little one there and this one. If you look very far into the distance, you can see blinds on the rear window there. That's a window out to the garden. And most of the house is sort of open plan like that back there. But up here, there's that little room there and this little room here. Now it's, I suppose I could measure it for you. I think it's something like 3 meters by, I don't know, let's say 3 by 3, so about 10 feet by 10 feet. Not exactly a huge room by any stretch of the imagination. And the organ with its 4-manual console and the desk it sits on and the pedals and the bench I have to sit on, it takes up more than half of the room. So in the background, you can see a couple of old cushions there. In the background, that's it. Look how low where's my hand? Where's my hand? There. Look how low the roof line goes. Yeah? So this part of the room is dead. You can't use it. And anyone who knows the IKEA furniture knows how high these IKEA, what are they called? Chests of drawers are, and of course a little television on top of that. So you get the idea. It's rather restricting here. If I stand up, I can just about stand up here at the organ bench, but any further back into the room that way, it's pretty impossible to stand. So while people sort of think that I have this grand palace, this great palace that enables me to have an enormous music room, that is sadly not the truth. It's basically a sort of a spare cupboard upstairs that it has a window, so it could be used as a sort of guest room, I suppose. But we've sort of changed it to the music room, and like I say, half of that is the organ. So yeah, there's that. I thought I'd show you that. I'm not going to sort of take you on a tour around the house. I'm not going to do that. That's private. But anyway, and that little room behind me, that's Vanessa's little office when she's working. She is still currently studying. She decided to change professions a few years ago, and she is now studying to be a teacher. Although she's about sort of 12 years older than all the other students there. So there you are, work that one out. But yes, that's quite good. So, what else do you want to know? A lot of people have been asking, oh yes, there's a picture in the background. Now, I'm not going to show you the picture in the background because it's beautiful. It's something rather cute that Vanessa did for me a couple of years ago. She recorded a vocal message for me. That was then printed out as an audio file. And there's a little sort of QR code in the corner. If I click the QR code, then I can hear that message spoken by her. And it's a very cute, very romantic idea. And that's the sort of painting in the background that's going to be there. Now, on my other hand, this wall here, God, doing things backwards and back to front, that's weird, isn't it? This wall here at the back, where there is currently nothing. I'm going to, at some point in the very near future, put up a portrait of a family member. Now, this is something that a few people, let's just say a few people noticed in a recent video. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I recorded an interview with international organ legend Wayne Marshall. And I recorded that from my office room, which is downstairs in the house. And in the background, there was a family portrait. It doesn't fit to the decor of the house at all. We're talking something from the 1930s here. And that portrait is of my great aunt, a rather eccentric old lady. Well, she was old by the time I met her, but a rather eccentric lady indeed, who was actually a rather famous character in society in her days. You could say she was kind of like the Wallace Simpson of her part of the world. But we'll come to her in another occasion, because I found out that she was actually rather active in sponsoring the arts. She knew a lot of composers and artists. I didn't know this until quite recently, and she was very, very supportive of them, shall we say, certainly in a financial sense. So she was quite a colourful character, so we'll get to her one day. I'll get her hanging up here. The portrait used to follow her around wherever she lived in the world, and she came back to Scotland to die in the early 70s. And it took her another 15 years, of course, stubborn that my family members are. And that portrait came with her wherever she went. And my father always said, it's cursed. It's cursed. So many years ago when I was on a trip to see my folks, and that painting, it was in the garage at home. And I said, well, why don't I take her with me to Germany? And my dad said, oh, you're welcome. Take her, she's cursed. So I took her away, and she now lives here. Oh, and the telephone is ringing. Back in a minute. Sorry, that was the missus on the telephone, wanting to catch up on something. So yes, so I will introduce you to her at some point in the near future, which will be quite interesting. And also, she lived quite a lot of her life in South Africa. So if there are any South African viewers out there who might be able to help me out with some of the family history from that part of the family, I would be most grateful. So what am I working on at the moment? That's another question that a lot of people have been asking. I'm working on a lot of things at the moment simultaneously. Obviously, I'm working on my new recording at the moment. That's the big thing at the moment. Remember, we had a little crowdfunding campaign running, and we were going to produce a new recording. I say CD, but it's a CD and download recording, blah, blah, blah. And I'm working furiously on that at the moment, and there are 10 pieces commissioned by members of the audience for this production, and I've gotten, actually the ideas are all there, all 10 of the ideas are there, that's not the problem. And I've got about 4 or 5 of them already. I've been in touch with half of the people to sort of say, here's the ideas I've had so far. Is this the kind of thing you were thinking of? So, you know, I'm keeping in touch with the people. If I haven't been in touch with you yet and you're one of them, it means I haven't gotten around to finalizing my ideas of your ideas yet. It's going to be a very interesting recording. It's great because the requests or the commissions from these people are very varied indeed, and 1 or 2 of them are actually very challenging for me, which is great. I love that kind of thing. Some of them were sort of, oh, something in a jazzy style, something in a romantic style, all that kind of thing. And that's I'm not going to say it's easy, but that's more the kind of thing I would do anyway. So that was a little bit say easier to do, but 1 or 2 of the commissions are really quite challenging, and I think that's great. One guy has asked for And I haven't been in touch with him yet, so if you're listening, you'll know why. One guy has requested something in the prog rock style. Whew, and this is, I thought that would actually be quite easy. So of course I've been catching up on my Rick Wakeman styles and other people of that ilk. And I've come across rather a lot of amazing stuff from the 70s and well, 70s, even some of the 80s stuff as well. Sort of prog rock as it was doing its thing. And wow, there's some amazing stuff there. So I'm actually sort of, I think I'm going to make it too complicated, if you know what I mean. I'm probably going to overdo that one, but hey, that's good fun, isn't it? We've got to challenge ourselves and the listeners. So that's what that's all about. So yes, so that's the main project at the moment. Now, the other project at the moment will be something I'm going to do for December, for you again for December. And the idea is, December is of course the Advent month. And well, Corona is unfortunately still around, and the numbers in Germany at the moment are spiraling out of control, and I'm hoping that we won't go into lockdown again. But should we have to, then I'm keeping myself busy by promising you a video a day until Christmas for December. And I'm going to sort of open that up to the audience as well, so that we can do a sort of an Advent request show. So there will be 24 videos in the run up to Christmas, including, by the way, our live streams. During the live streams each Friday, I will be performing one of these pieces live for the audience. So that's all going to be part of that. And it's all going to be done at random, by the way. So but more on that in a separate video coming very soon, later this week, in fact. So there's that. And that's a lot of work as well. But that's good because that's keeping me on my toes. It means I'm not just sort of sitting composing my own music. It means I get to practice some real music as well, which is always very good. On the subject of practicing real music, what is that real music? Well, on last Friday's live stream, we just smashed the 45,000 subscriber mark. So if you are one of the 66 and 3/4, or 66, sorry, and 2/3, it's pretty much exactly 2/3. If you are one of the 2/3 of my viewers who have not yet subscribed to the channel, then click that little subscribe button, help us out, give the video a thumbs up on the way past. It all helps. And of course, you can always leave a comment down there as well. Let's YouTube know that you found this video interesting, even if it's not. So anyway, so yes, so we just smashed that 45,000 subscriber mark, and I promised at 45,000 I would perform litanies von Alain, and I sort of did. I busked my way through it, including the evil bits on the second last page, and I made a complete dog's breakfast of it, or part of it anyway. And but that's fine, that's live. I'm not afraid to show everyone I'm just human. We all make mistakes, and I think the biggest mistake was trying it in the first place. But anyway, it's funny to be able to do that sort of thing. At least I think it's funny. I hope the audience does as well. And there are channels out there who believe in perfection, and well, I'm sorry, I'm not a perfectionist. Art is not anything perfect or finite in any form, whether it's music or art form, or any form of art, I suppose. So yes, so get out there and show the world you're human, which I certainly did on Friday. So anyway, so I'm of course working on that piece to get it up to scratch again. Yeah, so most of it's still there. I learned it years ago, and most of it is still there. And it's just sort of reminding my muscles where that left hand, you know, that left hand madness is on the second last page. That's the most difficult part. The rest of it's not too desperate. And I'm playing the original version, by the way, which is, there is a sort of an edited and slightly more modern version that came a few years later. And I'm not playing that. I'm playing from the original score. So if you see me jumping manuals around and think, hold on a minute, why is he doing that? Then that's why. Okay, so there's that. That's what I'm working on. I'm always working on something by Bach in the background, and I'm working on some rather fun stuff from Bach. Now, I'm going to start remember a long time ago I started what we're learning with you, that was the idea, learning the Passacaglia, C minor Passacaglia, and we were going to do that together, and I was going to do once a week, one or two of the movements, as it were, or the variations, and sort of describe them, learn them with you, and then, you know, play them along. And then as we finished it, then I would be able to perform the whole thing. That was the plan. And yeah, other things got in the way, got in between, mainly Corona. And that sort of was put on the back burner. So in the new year, when all the sort of Christmas stress and everything is out of the way, then I will be recommencing our Let's Learn the Passacaglia series. That's coming back, so that's very important. But at the same time, there are all sorts of fun stuff by Bach. Not often you say fun when you're talking about Bach's organ music, is it? But I'm a great fan of Mr. Virgil Fox, as every organist should be. Now, a lot of people think Virgil Fox was a bit of a showman and that was it. But nope, he was a phenomenal organist. He was absolutely wonderful, incredibly talented, and let's not forget, he was responsible for opening up the organ world to an awful lot of people who were never interested in it before, including organists and, of course, public, just members of the general public. And Virgil Fox had this most amazing technique. He called it, what did he call it? Bach with fire, fiery Bach, red hot Bach, or something like that. Something like that. And he would play, his signature tune for Bach was, of course, the jig fugue. Dum, da, dum, da, dum, da, dum, da, 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 dum. And that's one of the most requested pieces I get for my live stream. So that's on the program at the moment. I'm learning that. And that's one of those pieces that I'm not going to play from music. So I'll be learning that one by memory. It's the only way you can play that kind of piece. And I want to show you, when it's done, I do want to show you that Virgil Fox was right. That kind of music is Bach on a happy day. He's just had a real good cup of coffee. He's probably had a nice long cigarette. He's gone out for a walk. He's had a lovely church service. He's just had a pay rise. Yeah, he's in real good form. And he came up with a piece of music like that. And it's dance music for the organ. You're supposed to dance around to this. And there's old Virgil Fox videos out there. I think it was with Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops, I think. Oh God, is that right? Where he gets the audience, and Arthur Fiedler actually, gets them dancing around while he's playing the jig fugue. And that's the power of music. And I sort of want... It was always my dream on this channel to not just open up the organ world to, you know, stuffy audiences out there and show them that it's, you know, you can play jazz on an organ, you can play anything on a theatre organ, you can play anything on a classical organ, you can play anything on any organ, pretty much. But it's also to sort of refresh that image that's kind of missing at the moment in some places in the organ world. Get back to that sort of Virgil Fox, Bach on fire kind of stuff. So, so I'm going to play quite a lot of Bach next year, and I'm going to concentrate on the happy Bach music, if that makes any sense. A lot of organ people, a lot of people in the organ world take the music of J.S. Bach far too seriously. Far, far, far too seriously. And at the end of the day, Bach was a fantastic musician, but he was a professional musician. It was his job. He earned money doing what he did. And everybody sort of idolizes this man who was actually an evil pig of a man. He was horrible to his family. He was horrible to his wife, horrible to his fellow musicians. He was not a nice person at all. He was a tyrant, to put it very mildly, but his music is, of course, marvelous. He was an absolute genius when it came to music. And yes, and I will be sort of concentrating on the happy side of Bach's music, and that's what I want to do next year. So there's a lot of that on the cards, in the background at the moment. Now, what else am I working on? I'm working on so many things at the same time. I'm working on let's start that again. I'm working on a relatively unknown piece of music by a rather popular English composer from, shall we say, the 1930s, around about that time. And it's a piece of music that very rarely gets performed because a lot of people just don't understand it. And I played it many years ago myself, and I dug it out again not that long ago and realized that I didn't actually understand it. And now I'm sort of teaching myself it again, and I think I have understood it this time. So that's something we'll be presenting on the show as well, which is always good fun. I like sort of coming up with things that people have either forgotten or that people just don't know in the first place. So that's coming, that's good fun. We're going to continue our interview season as well, yes. The video with Wayne that we put out a couple of weeks ago, that was in 2 parts with Wayne Marshall, that went down very well, and of course thank you to Wayne. Wayne is a regular viewer in the live stream audience, by the way, so if you want to say hi to Wayne Marshall, then do tune in on a Friday evening live stream. Wayne is more than regularly in the live chat as well. Distinguished guests. And that's the beauty of, that's the beauty of the online organ world, isn't it? Organists from all walks of life, whether it's an amateur organist or a professional organist or an international professional organist, we all kind of get together online and chat, and we've all become friends over the last years, and that's wonderful. That's the power of social media and promoting this organ world. So yes, I'm getting the job done. This is very important. So anyway, yes, I'm going to continue the interview series, and I will be interviewing different musicians, not just organists, and talking to them about their musical lives and how things are going for them. So that's coming up in the new year as well. So that's going to be rather exciting. And so on, and so on, and so on. So there is a lot going on in the background. It's not just physically in the background, the things that you don't see when you're watching these videos. But I thought I'd give you a little chit-chat insight into all of that today. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back in a couple of days with another video, an actual video involving music. And then, of course, Friday night is organ music night, like every Friday night. So I look forward to seeing you in the live chat. Say hi, tell me where you're from, tell me who you are, and get your requests in as well. Maybe I'll play something for you as well. That's the whole point. If you are also interested in joining the Gartshore, I don't know, should we call it the Gartshore gang? Well, the Gartshore gang is a sort of a bunch of online organists who hang around and watch each other's videos, comment on each other's videos, and have fun doing it. But there is an official Gartshore's gang, and you can join us as well. YouTube membership is out there, Patreon membership is out there. There are other options, and so on and so on. And that is going to be rather pushed in the new year as well. I'm going to change the way I'm working with my patrons and Patreons. I think you just call them patrons, don't you? I'll be changing the way I work with them in the new year, so they'll be getting a lot more out of me for their money. Thank you very much. And we'll continue with more of that in the future videos. So there we are. That was a little chit chat. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you very soon, and at the very latest next Friday's live stream. See you then. Bye bye.